I'm Caleb.
I'm Haley.
And I'm having coffee with my ex.
Unhinged.
Is that what we're doing?
Is that what we're
All
doing
right.
now?
I know what you're thinking. Caleb, you're wearing the same thing you did last week. So what about it?
This is our hoodie. It's available in the link below. Cop you some Coffee with My Ex merch, baby.
Cop you some merch. It's actually, I will say, I hate merch. Like, I think merch is generally very tacky. Mm-hmm. This is good merch.
Oh, no. It's my... I honestly
better than any fitness merch.
Yeah. This is what I said. I didn't want to say it, but...
Yeah. Better than swat yourself sexy.
It's like the coffee cups on the sleeve that really does it for me. I think, yeah. So...
Be minimal.
Yeah.
Demi Lovato says she's so proud of the person she is today.
Just got
a news alert.
From who?
People.
And that's the news we love to hear.
Sorry, I looked at you. I realized on the last episode that I don't like my side profile. So I'm not looking at Haley this whole episode.
You can just move your eyes. You don't have to. So today, so the tea behind this episode, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him because and this is like normal, like, because people like record podcasts and like ditch them. You know what I mean? Like that happens all the time.
We actually never.
We've never done that, but a lot of people do that. Mm-hmm. But we've never had to do it until a couple weeks ago. And
it's because I was unhinged.
So the reason that we took a break, this is the tea. The reason we took a break is because we recorded this episode about sex. Yeah. And Caleb went too far too many times. Like it wasn't just once, wasn't just twice, wasn't just 3 times. It was the whole episode was too much. And we were like, I was like, if I ever like, say tomorrow, like I break my leg. Say tomorrow I break my leg and I have to get.
Never work again.
I have to get another job anywhere, like literally anywhere. I would never be able to live that episode down.
And when Haley is the one concerned about the content of the content being too inappropriate, that's when you know that you crossed the line. I was like, if Haley's like, you know what, we've gone too far. And my problem is I'm too honest. And I feel the need to just like share everything.
Yeah, I do not feel that way.
And it's like, no, it's a toxic trait. And I found that out. And I'm getting nervous now just thinking about all the things.
You're making noise.
But I wanted us to redo this because
we're going to do it the right way.
I didn't think, it was not done the correct way. And I think that the topic of the day, which is sex, is important to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I want to do it the right way, like you said. But I also don't want to gloss over it because it is something that people should be talking about.
I mean, yeah, everyone does it. Everyone is here because of it.
Yeah, and if you haven't done it, like, that's okay. But, like, if you're an adult and you are bent up about sex, like, how'd you get your babies?
Right. Right. So, all right, so doing this the right way.
Sorry,
Doing this the right way. What do you...
Here's the thing. I want to start this off by saying my relationship with sex has always been very uncomfortable. I was raised in a very conservative home to where sex was always bad and evil, and there were always negative things associated with it outside of marriage. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, we really didn't talk about sex. All I knew is that sex was bad. It was inappropriate. People who had sex were sluts or shameful, or their lives were ruined, or they had diseases. Everything involving sex, it was never taught to us about love. It was taught about lust and how it's sinful. And so I had a very toxic,
like fear-mongering,
fear-based relationship with sex that I still struggle with today because of the way I was raised. Mm-hmm. And like it's truly negatively impacted my entire life, the way I was raised to think about sex. I was never taught about obviously, I was never taught about any other kind of sex than straight sex in school or by even family, although we never even talked about it. So I just have always associated sex with shame and bad. And so I've had to try to unlearn all of that as I grow up. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, what was your upbringing?
So I feel like the topic of sex, my mom she had me at 18. So I think that sex was definitely like in the forefront of her mind when I was being raised, because I don't think that she wanted me to have a baby at 18. So I think that she was like, this is very much entirely possible. Mm-hmm. So I would rather like equip you with the knowledge, and both good and bad, about the subject, so you don't have a baby at 18. Yeah. And I think that was very important to her. So she was super, obviously, like I wasn't having sex like as a teenager or like in high school or whatever. And I think she trusted me enough to know that I would have like said something or like needed help or like, I don't know. But, but my relationship with sex, I feel now is, I feel like I have, obviously the older I get, the more I come into my own, but as much as I do come into my own, I'm still like a very private person, just overall. And so I think sex is definitely like a part of that privacy for me. And a lot of my friends make fun of me because I'm so private. And you know what? I'm here to say that that's okay. And they're projecting.
I've pushed you a little too far sometimes.
Yeah, that is very true. And you are allowed, and that's the thing, it's what's so interesting that I find about myself is that I do consider myself like, like sometimes, like, I don't know, I feel like I fully like come into my own sexuality and my confidence in my sexuality, and sometimes I let the world see that and sometimes I don't, but that's like my decision.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, because you, in this world of social media and like reclaiming your body and like getting to do whatever you want, I think that it's okay if you don't want to like be sexual online or don't want to talk about it. Like sex, like even to me, and I don't think this is a bad thing, because I know that I said that I had a really bad upbringing with it, but the parts that I do like are that I really hold my sexuality as something that is mine to share with someone really special, and something that I really don't want to give to the world. So like, yeah, maybe I'll like posting sexy pictures sometimes, but that doesn't mean that
posting sexy pictures doesn't mean you're promiscuous or like whatever.
Yeah, it has no indication of what my life is like. And so like me personally, I have always just felt that sex was something I just wanted to share with my romantic partners that I was actually like dating. And that's different for everyone. And what I want people to get out of this is there's not a right or wrong way to have sex or to be sexual. And I think that you have to figure out what's right for you. And if it feels uncomfortable or unnatural, don't do it. If you are not wanting to have sex with like Tinder hookups or whatever, then don't do that. Like you are totally in charge of your own sexuality, and other opinions should not be imposed on you when you're thinking about sex, other than like basic safety and prevention and things like that.
Right.
So with that being stated, I think we can kind of go into some of the questions.
So you guys had some really, really insightful questions that Caleb didn't deem necessary in the last episode.
That's not true.
You asked literally 2 questions.
You know what? I thought we were really vibing this episode, and now you're just coming at me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I do want to ask you though. What? So when you were growing up, and like the way that your mom talked to you about sex, it wasn't from a religious standpoint. It was
not at all. Okay. It was more of like safety and just like letting a girl know like what's up.
That's so important. I think too. And I shared this on the lost episode, but I think I have such an odd relationship and fear of sex as well, just from being gay, because I was so concerned about my family accepting me being with a man that the idea of like talking about gay sex or like that the fact that I'm having sex with a man, like that was crossing the line, and I thought that would make it way too real. So just the idea of, you know, my family being okay with the fact that I'm gay was the max that I could go. So even in public, even with people, talking about sex, I get so uncomfortable because I'm like, oh, wait, I'm talking about gay sex. And that feels, for some reason, more taboo than heterosexual sex. And so I think there's a lot of shame just with that comes with it. So
yeah,
that's the end of that context.
I think it's interesting, though, because I think a lot of people grow up in the same way, straight or not, having such a like bad this is the same word I've been trying to think of forever now. Connotation.
Connotation. Guilt.
Yes. What was I even saying? I'm so happy.
Negative connotation.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people who grew up in religious households, super religious, I would say, have a negative relationship and connotation with sex, and I think that it's a hurdle that a lot of people, especially like our age, is kind of coming to terms with now, because this is the age I feel like that people really take a deep dive into their childhood, because you really, like, your brain's almost like, you know, fully functioning, you know, you're able to kind of have some insight and retrospect on like what your childhood was like and how that's affected you now. And I think that a lot of people our age, they're coming to terms with how growing up in like a religious household has affected their everyday lives, including sex.
Yeah, because it's like you don't know what is what you want, because you don't know if you're basing it off of what your family wants or what you think God wants, or it's just really, really confusing. And it's the worst part is that no one can really give you the answer. It's like, if you are a Christian, that's what you subscribe to, or whatever religion, then that's up to you to figure out if you also subscribe to those rules, and if you want to incorporate that into your life. And no one can tell you yes or no. It's really all based upon how you want to live your life. And I think that's what's really hard. And for me, I've really struggled with, like, am I going to hell because I'm having sex with my boyfriend of 6 years? Like, I hate that that's still in the back of my mind, literally to this day.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a lot to wrestle with. And I also just don't think it's healthy to teach your children to wait until you get married to ever have sex or to live with someone.
No.
Like that, maybe like that worked a long time ago.
When marriage was more for like, it was more like a business deal. Yeah. It was more like, if
you're trying to find love and actual companionship, and these days, I'll say this too, why it was probably easier back in the day, because it's not because y'all didn't have technology or you just loved each other, you had Jesus in your heart. No, it's because the man dominated the relationship, and if you're a woman and found that relationship, you were subordinate to your man. That's why it worked. Today, people we have a more
ideology.
Yeah, and they have a say, and so it's more of a relationship, whereas before, like you said, it was more of like you were being a goat being sold.
Yeah, it was more like a business transaction, or like, you know, trying to like get yourself higher up in the hierarchy of like social circles.
Yeah, and so I think that's also probably why divorce has gone up. It's like people are like, wait, no, like you're treating me poorly.
Yeah,
this is not good. And I think the church, I hate like painting it at, but I think the older generation likes to paint it as, oh, the world just lost its morals and values, when really people just found their worth.
Yeah.
And got out of situations that they should not have been in, that they would have stayed in, because divorce is so shameful. But these days it's like, you know what's more shameful than divorce? Being in an abusive relationship.
Or being the abuser. Okay.
We're getting wound up again today.
We haven't asked a single question. Okay, so this person says, is it bad that I haven't had sex at 24 years old? I'm worried it'll turn guys off. And this...
That's so sad.
Is what I have to say about that. Number one, your virginity is not for anyone to take, and it's not a thing. I don't understand the concept of virginity at all. I don't think I ever will. Mm-hmm. The fact that it's like this tangible thing that guys can either say they want to accept it or not makes no sense.
Or guys that are like, I only want you if you're a virgin.
That's, first of all, that's so
run
like
away from
pedophilia type shit in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like weird. So number one, if you're talking to, if the situation ever arises and you voice your concern, like, hello, this is my first time here doing this, and
which I think you should.
No, I think you absolutely should. Like, the more
open
communication, the better. But I think you'll know based off of his reaction whether or not, like, this is something that you want to do. If he's like, this is like no big deal, or if he's like, even if he's like, yeah, I love virgins, like, run.
Yeah. Don't, yeah.
You will learn a lot whenever you talk to a guy about you not having sex yet. Mm-hmm. And you should form your next decision based off that response.
I will say, and I don't know if this is another question, but communication with your partner regarding sex is the number one way to have good, healthy sex. Mm-hmm. because if you're feeling nervous or uncomfortable, and of course, like if it's your first time and it's not like with someone that you know
like it
deeply,
takes a while.
Yeah, it shouldn't feel like all like hunky dory. But as you go on, like the more you communicate and talk, like you shouldn't feel silly or shameful about anything. Like bodies are weird, people are weird, sex is weird, but it can be great for both people. But just communicate. Like you shouldn't feel silly or embarrassed, because I think that both people are probably thinking the same thing. So the more you're just totally open about it,
right. Someone asked, when did you have your first time? No, you don't. Last time,
I went and I shared the whole story.
The whole story. I felt like I was there. Okay, we don't need that. Just like a brief overview.
All right, I'll leave all the pseudonames at home.
The fact that there are pseudonames is insane. Your first
still
time,
mad at Hope. It's funny because the time that I explained, like, I didn't have sex.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Your first time. I don't know, because when we were talking about our first time.
That wasn't just my first sexual experience.
Yeah, your first time.
Yeah, my first time I was, and this sounds much better too. I was 17.
Yeah.
That just feels so much less wrong.
Yeah.
The first time I was 17, and it was with my very first boyfriend. We were dating. I was very nervous and uncomfortable, but in that moment, I felt very comfortable with that person. Mm-hmm. And you know what's so funny is all I remember is that I think I was wearing yellow underwear. But like literally, it's funny because I don't really remember a lot of details in that time.
Yeah.
I think I was just like, oh my God, this is it's happening.
Yeah.
And it felt like this weird thing because I had built up the virginity for so long, and I'm like, confetti didn't fall from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get an award, and it just helped demystify and be like, oh wait, this can just be something that I do with my partner, and it doesn't have to be so scary or such a big deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, also like from like gay sex is different, and so it was a very different experience for me, and I think there was just a lot of learning on my part that I'm glad that I had a partner to do that with, because I was never taught about it. Yeah. And I feel like I'm still learning things today. Yeah. Because it's just, I don't know, it's a whole different world. So, what was your first time? When was your first time? I need to stop before I like
Yeah.
I was going to start going down.
Oh my God.
Was it too much?
It's just funny because you can go off the rails really fast. Like I watch it happen and I don't realize it happening until after the fact.
And you're like, get back here.
I was 19. Was I 18? I was 18 or 19.
You were in college.
That's sad that I don't remember. I was in college. I think I was 18. It was my freshman year. I was with my boyfriend at the time. We were in a long-term relationship already at 18.
And you waited like, over a year.
2 years. Yeah. 2.5 years-ish. And I mean, I was like, I don't know. I feel like I was very like, honest. I was very sensible about it. I was just like, I'm not ready yet. And then one day I was like, I think I'm like ready. I just like knew.
That is very you.
Yeah, today
is the day.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. Like today is the day. Like literally. Like today is the day.
Take off your clothes.
Yeah.
See how good you are at just like shutting down after like a certain, like you're like, I've given my 3 sentences.
Yeah.
But it's very concise. It's good.
Yeah.
I didn't need to. I think most of the things I try to share here are for therapy, not for a podcast.
Yeah. Women having sex often, shameful or powerful. And this I feel very strongly about, but I'll let you speak first.
Oh. I don't know. The man in the room should speak.
Okay. Sorry. Women having sex often, shameful or powerful. So this is, and I said this in the last podcast, that is gone. So there's this sense of like women who, here we go. What's that fucking podcast called? Call Her Daddy. Like that kind of like culture of like women being equal to men. I'll never remember the name of that podcast.
I was going to say
connotation. Women having this like idea that women having sex more equals more power, which is so just like the epitome of what toxic masculinity is. And I think that a lot of the times people mistake feminism for that. And that is not that. I think that the whole idea of toxic masculinity is unsafe for all parties because sex does have a lot of serious consequences. And so having this idea that having sex more makes you more equal to men is exactly the problem. Yeah. And I think that it's like, yeah, do what you want. It's your body. Do what you want. But like be safe about it. And I think a lot of that like that idea of like you gotta like I want to be as as reckless as these men and like do this and have sex this and it's like do you, but like you're not helping feminism.
It's kind of like, and I think that when you see these women out there who are in your face with their sexuality and it's very like trying to prove a point, I think that people are quick to use those as examples of like, see, like this is why you shouldn't do this, you've gone too far. But if you think about like when you were a child and you were not allowed to do something, the minute that your parents weren't standing over your shoulder, that's the first thing that you went to do is whatever was forbidden. And so for so long when women aren't allowed to be sexual or feel like they can be free, then I think it's natural for you to like overcompensate because you're just so angry at the people who shut you down for so long.
Which is valid, but not
but still
constructive.
Like, right. And so I think that's the thing. It's like it's understandable why you would feel that way, but in the end that's
the big picture.
We were just talking about the big picture, it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
But I think when you're stepping over the line, especially in public, it does help the conversation happen more, so the change happens faster. But I think that sex is something that is still it comes with risk, like you said. And so to talk about it in a way that is risk-free is dangerous because that's
especially because who does sex, change the lives of?
Ultimately,
women.
Just the women. I mean,
so
aside from STDs, it's like women are disproportionately going to be on the negative end of sex gone wrong.
Yes.
Or not sex gone wrong.
Sex
but
gone wrong.
Like women don't have the option just to like not deal with it.
Yeah.
Like they have to deal with
the consequences,
the repercussions of sex. Yeah. So I think that creating a conversation that gives women the power to have the same sexual freedom as men while still not ignoring the realities of sex is what's important.
Right. I think, and so like, is it shameful or powerful? I don't think it's either.
No, I think it's just sex. And it is amazing and also has consequences. And that's all there is to it. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But like also, it is powerful to know that you have the choice to have sex or not have sex, or how you want to display your body. Like I think there is a lot of power in that.
For sure.
But I think the power comes in just knowing you have the control and not necessarily using that power to the fullest extent, like you said. Okay, so I just regurgitated everything you just said. I don't know why I thought it was like a new thought in my brain. Shut up.
Would you stay in a relationship where the sex wasn't good? No. No, I'm sorry. Especially if like I've tried.
Yeah. You know what? Sex has never been that big of a deal to I mean it's a big deal to me, but I just feel like I'm the one who will be like, yeah, I really am excited to watch this show. Like, let's just do this real quick. Like, it's just in my bigger picture, it's not like my end all be all. But what I will say is that I can see myself starting to go off the rails, and that what was the question?
Have you? Oh wait, sorry.
Will you stay in a relationship with bad sex?
Yeah.
No. What I will say is that my.
Why do I have the need to overshare?
I think that if you're having boring sex or it's bad sex, that I think it's cool to be with someone who is willing to explore and like do new things. So I feel like there's a lot of things that I think there's just, you know what, I'm gonna not get too okay. I think that, here's the thing. I think that sex, there's a lot of different ways to have sex and a lot of adventurous things you can do and try. And I think that...
Would you stay in the relationship or not? That's the question.
No,
beholden to you.
Just shut me up.
Yes or no?
Yes.
You would stay in a relationship with bad sex.
Well, we could figure it out. I just gotta go.
What?
I'm staying in here. I'm not ruining this one too. I'm
gonna stay here. Wow. My answer.
I told you I could see myself going off the rails, and you didn't stop me.
Take a beat. I would say no, because for me, I feel like sex is really important, and I feel validated by it a lot of the time. So if it's not good, then like, well, what do I have? That's a question for my therapist. Have you ever had a friend with benefits? If so, are you still friends?
I wanted my friend to have benefits.
Which
he
friend?
Never reciprocated.
Which friend?
Duke.
Who is Duke? Oh. He's listening.
I don't care. No, I'm kidding. No, I haven't ever had a friend with benefits. That's such a confusing topic to me, and I think that I am not built for it.
Oh, I'm too...
Because I'll get attached.
I'm too clingy for
I will lock you down. So, like, if we're friends with benefits, you're my boyfriend.
I would, like, be married to you before... Okay, this question, be careful.
I clearly can't.
Most embarrassing sex thing that's ever happened to you. We've all had our moments.
I'm trying to think of something that's not going to send me to jail.
Come on, you had to have something. We all know what I'm going to say.
Well, I guess I could just say what I said the last one.
No, you can't.
Why?
Because it's illegal.
Not the park. You looked at me like you're disappointed.
Okay.
I truly don't know.
Okay, do you want me to share mine? Is mine inappropriate?
No, yours is funnier than mine, so I'll go first. I'll just share it. So it really wasn't embarrassing. It was just funny. Around the holidays.
Oh.
Around the holidays, Cameron and I were doing that. About
doing the business,
and I could see him like over me, and like we were not having sex, but like we were going to, and obviously again it was really close to Christmas, and I said, "Give me your stocking stuffer." I want you to stuff my stocking with Santa. And we both started laughing so hard, the moment was just over.
That is
and
so funny.
It killed it, and nothing happened. But you know what? It was worth it, because I promise you, I cannot remember the last time I've laughed that hard. And that was a special moment, too, because I was like, you know what? We're literally cackling right now in this position and environment, and it's just nice to be that comfortable with somebody. But yeah, I missed out on that night for sure.
Oh no, you don't care.
But we watched a great show, so that's really all I care about.
So my embarrassing moment was traumatic, to say the least. So, and this was also around me starting to have sex too. Mm-hmm. So one of my first like sex memories, I would say, and I was being safe. We were using a condom, and somehow the condom, like, we were done, and somehow the condom got literally like a fucking vacuum. It became a fucking black hole,
and that's how I imagine them. That's how I imagine vaginas.
For some reason, the condom never came. It was inside of me. The condom was inside of me. I was freaking out. We were trying to...
The condom was you, and you were the condom.
We were trying to find it.
We were fishing.
Couldn't find it. Looking everywhere for it.
Wait, how many places could it be? I swear to God, I have no idea. Like, what is it?
I don't know.
It is a swamp.
I don't know. Yes. I don't know. But I was freaking out. So my roommate at the time, Margot, we all know Margot. I was like running around the house, like, what do I know? Like literally, like, what do I know? And she was like, well, maybe like go to the bathroom and like try to push it out like a baby. And so I was like, oh, okay, I've never pushed out a baby. Don't know what that sensation is. But so I went to the bathroom and I just like imagined I was pushing out a baby because apparently, you know, my body's made to do that. So I just know what to do. And I did, and it went bloop. It came out so easily. This was after like an hour of looking for it. And so I birthed a condom. And not only that, I had to take Plan B because the condom was inside of me. And so I was sick for like the next 2 days after that. So not a good time.
If I was a girl, I'd never have sex.
I was scarred for a while. I was scarred. Like it pretty much defined my thoughts about condoms. Like I was always so scared of it coming back inside of me.
I couldn't even. That's like a
object.
Horror story. Absolutely not.
Oh my god. Weirdest place you've had sex? You can say an answer that's not going to incriminate you.
I'm actually trying to think. I mean, the weirdest. Is it illegal to have sex?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
like what about on the freeway?
You on the freeway?
And then we got pulled over. But they weren't looking for us. We thought they saw us, but they were looking for a drug lord.
Can you say that into the microphone?
Is that illegal though?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Say it.
What do you mean, guess we'll find out? In 20 years, when they're like, and hang him for...
Oh, we're privating this video after like a year.
You know what? I don't want to answer that question.
Okay, I'll answer.
Okay.
So the weirdest ways I've ever had sex.
I hate you. I forget every time I get re-mad.
Was at the foot of my bed on the floor with Caleb passed out in my bed. So, like, he's on my bed, passed out, and I was literally just on the fucking carpet. And I'm so happy that you did not wake up, because that would have been traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was obviously drunk.
You know what? You know what? I just cannot stand you.
And we were laughing the whole time about it. It's so fucked up. It is so fucked up.
I will show them my side profile for those. You're a monster. You're a sexual monster.
I've had sex in all
You're a
of
hooker
Caleb's
monster.
I've had sex in every single one of the beds you own.
Except for the one I have right now.
That's it.
I would say I think the weirdest place I've had sex is also in a friend's bed while there is a random person passed out next to us. And obviously I was young, like not as
that's a good way to put it. No.
I mean, like I'm just saying, like I wasn't like a grown like.
I think that makes it sound worse.
It's just like now I would never put myself in that position, but. Shut the fuck up! Just shut up!
Oh my god.
What is the next question?
That is it.
That is it.
Actually, no, it's not it. Someone asked me, I wasn't going to do this, but I want to do it. The media's portrayal of sex. Your thoughts?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, but like what comes to mind?
I think that the media's portrayal of sex has shifted over the years. I think that there is a huge sexualization of women that has happened, which has contributed to, I think, people's idea of sex or like who has sex, because often in media, the women who are having sex are not portrayed like they are smart or capable or independent. Mm-hmm. And I think that recently in media, the narrative has shifted a lot, and now it's almost like switching roles because we're trying to compensate for the traditional portrayal of media. And I feel like now men are being sexualized more, and I've like seen a lot more like naked men or like penises and things, where I feel like before it's just women's bodies who were up for display. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like it's starting to even out more. And I feel like people's relationship with sex and sex scenes is getting a little, like the show I just watched, Shameless, it's just sex. Like sex scenes everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's just getting a little bit more normalized and not as dramatized.
Mm-hmm. Interesting that you note that about men. Don't know what you're watching.
Shameless. Lots of penises. Also, Game of Thrones had penises, right?
I mean, yeah, but I'm just thinking more of like, I guess more broadly, like whenever someone wants to sell anything. Yeah, I just feel like women sell everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because, yeah, whenever like I see an ad, it's always like a pretty girl. Or like her body, or not even her face, like her body, or like whatever.
Well, if the demo is women, then it's probably going to be a woman on the box, like because, the ideal amazing. Yeah, woman.
But also if it's a man, it's a woman to be desired. Mm-hmm. So it's both.
Yeah.
Because women, and that's another thing. It's just like I feel like the media's portrayal of sex and how sex has been commodified makes it. So that now, and I grew up thinking this way too, and I have spent so much of my mental capacity and my mental energy just thinking about my appearance and the way I look and how my appearance is directly related to what I'm worth in society. And so in that way, it really pisses me off because there's a lot of time I could have been spending my energy otherwise. And I think about how many things I've missed out on, like learning or doing because I was so worried about, if I don't look this way or do this or act that way, then I'm not going to be useful in society because I'm a woman and my main purpose is to look a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. I think a lot of people, and also make sure that everyone goes to Revolve and shops Haley's look that she's wearing right now. It's
You're
very cute.
so annoying.
No, I'm kidding. That's a really good point because it's also like it sucks, but you also have no choice but to subscribe to it,
or else you get left in. So that's like the game of like any systemic structure. Like in order to make it anywhere, you have to participate.
Yeah. Even if you don't like the game, you have to play the game, and then you have to. You try to fight the game, but then people are like, but you're playing the game. And you're like, well, I have to play the game, but I still want to fight the game.
Yeah. So, like, I just feel like now in my, late 20s, my entire 20s, I have literally spent so much of my energy unlearning that. And so I'm still paying energy to it. And, like, it frustrates me to no end that I have to be, and, like, I like to look good for myself. Mm-hmm. I enjoy, looking cute, dressing up or whatever. But for so long, I feel like I was doing it for the wrong reasons or just spending so much of my, like, energy and, like, knowledge consuming myself with, like, I have to make myself a commodity.
Mm-hmm. You know what's so weird is we're going to be the first generation to... I mean, you talk about unlearning everything. And that's because we're the generation of the internet.
Yeah.
And we are the first generation with free access to information. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be so interesting to see how we continue to evolve and like everything that we unlearn and like where we end up. Because every generation before, their progress and personal growth has really been dependent on their immediate community and surroundings. Mm-hmm. And no one's really taken all of the world into account. Mm-hmm. And just thinking about all the things that like go through my brain about like things that my family disagree with or things that I do, it's just like I think about it without the internet, I would not know any of those things. We wouldn't question culture or media. That's just the way the world works. Mm-hmm. So we're really not only we're the first generation that's really going to be unlearning it, but we're also the generation that's going to be responsible for helping educate people older than us about the world because we're the first ones to experience it. And it's exhausting
because we're also doing our own unpacking and dealing with it and then also having to teach others about it.
I think it's going to be easier for the generations that come after us because we're all going to we've all grown up with access to information.
Yeah.
But I think the disconnect between our generation and the generation above us is so unique. And I think it's a bigger generational gap that's really that ever existed.
Yeah, we
live in two different worlds.
Yeah.
And it's nice because like, a lot of like older people I think are on Facebook, but they're just perpetuating their own, misinformation.
Facebook is the last place that you should be.
It's just, it's fascinating because most people don't know how to use the internet too. So it's just, it's weird. It's like we ate like the apple of like the tree, and we just have all this knowledge, and we're like, the world is so messed up. And you were just texting me the other day, like, how do you solve all the world's problems and also accept that we are stardust? There's just too much. I feel like sometimes I wish that we didn't know everything that we knew.
I wish I was so ignorant. I just like wish sometimes.
And not that we know everything. It's just like the idea that we have access to everything.
Yeah,
is exhausting.
The pure idea that I could know anything I want is overwhelming because I will try.
You have to stop that.
I know that's when I have to remind myself, like I only have so much I can do. And, like, that doesn't mean you should stop, like, trying. But, like, it's just I put a lot of pressure on myself to know everything about everything. And that is impossible.
Yeah. Gen Z, I hope you can take the load off a little bit. Although you've been tweeting some crazy shit.
Yeah, y'all been crazy.
y'all need to reel it back a tiny bit with certain things. I feel like I'm already getting to the point. Back in my day, we were allowed to tell women they were pretty.
Oh my God.
What was the tweet that I sent you?
About James.
James Charles was like, but this is, okay, not sex anymore. James Charles has been like bald or whatever, like pretending to be bald. And someone, like a Gen Zer tweeted, like, James, like, this is actually very disrespectful to make fun of being bald because some people are actually bald and some people are, like, bald because of, like, chemo. And I'm like, well, you're getting dark very fast.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true, but...
But, like, it's... Yeah. We can do a whole episode on that.
Right. All right. Let's do that.
All right. What is your recommendation for the week?
You know what I will recommend, and you're not going to agree with me.
Definitely not.
I have been really excited to, like, dive into my gay culture a little bit because I feel like I am solely surrounded... It's funny, you feel like you're only surrounded by gay men. I feel like I'm surrounded by straight women.
It's me and Allison. That's the only straight women
that
I know.
I guess I'm just not surrounded by much.
I am only surrounded by gay men.
We've been hanging out with, like, Dan more and, like...
And
Ryan's
Ryan.
not gay. And Ryan. And that's what made me, like, I want to be gay a little bit. And I feel like I'm not in... I feel so disconnected from the gay community. Podcast, and it's not a podcast, it's a series on YouTube with Trixie Mattel and Katya. And I think it is the funniest thing. It's Wow Presents, and it's just Trixie and Katya talking about random topics.
Oh, they're hilarious.
And I mean, the editing is chaotic, but I was belly laughing cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And it's just that it's so funny. So if you just want to laugh and you understand gay culture a little bit, or like gay terminology, Trixie and Katya's.
But I also would argue that kind of putting gay culture on this like pedestal that you want to like attain to is a little bit unfair because you are gay. Like, you are gay culture.
I just feel like I spend so much time trying to cater to like middle-aged white women that I forget what I even am interested in.
Yeah.
Or like what I enjoy to consume.
Yeah.
What do you recommend?
I recommend, so I just found the Washington Post's podcast. And I love it more than all my other ones because I listen to NPR, I listen to the New York Times, I have a lot of different like political podcasts I like to listen to, so I get like a well-rounded situation. And the Washington Post is my favorite.
Washington Post podcast.
Washington Post, like, political podcast.
Is it daily?
It's daily.
Wow.
All of my podcasts are daily.
I would love to just be a plant on your shelf and, like, see what you do. Like, what you're consuming all day. I just feel like at no point in time is there not someone talking to you about everything that's wrong in the world.
How many extremists are in the military, Andrew Johnson's impeachment, a split screen of two president, a mob that Trump built, just things like that. What's in the next COVID relief bill? The Republican plan to give parents money.
Just so you know, the last episode I watched of Trixie and Katya's podcast was them talking about moving. and all the quirks that come with moving.
Oh my God. It's important.
It is. Oh.
What's your intention for the week?
My intention for the week is to try to figure out how to not derail and overshare. No, that's not a good intention. That's not going to happen. I want to make a new recipe this week.
Cute.
We make so many of the same things all the time. Yeah. So I want to look up a recipe and I want to make something new.
Let me know what it is.
It's going to be Postmates.
So my intention this week is kind of complex. But you said last week about like kind of fading out like the noise and like what do I actually think, and I've been feeling that way a lot about like how I talk on social media, because I feel, once again, go back to like what I consume a lot is like a lot of what's going on in the world. And while I think it's important, I think it's also like a lot for a lot of people. Like whenever I speak about it, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, relax. And in my mind, like I'm just like talking. Like I'm just like speaking about like whatever, but I can understand how it can be like overwhelming. And on social media, I get really self-conscious about like talking about things that are important to me, even though I know they're important to the world and they're important to me, but I don't see a lot of creators talking about things like that. And so I get self-conscious. I'm like, am I too much? Am I like, do I need to like water myself down? I feel like sometimes I need to water myself down. And I don't want to do that, but I also don't want people to hear me speak like, oh my God, this bitch again. And so it's just like, I really want to find that balance of like not taking into consideration what other creators are posting, because I'm my own person and there's a reason why people follow me, and it's not for all the reasons they're following all these other people. But also finding that like boundary of like, okay, like I don't need to speak about all issues, but like what are like a few issues that are important to me that I can better serve like the community people who follow me to like learn about.
And just like focus on
this
to help them. That's a good point.
Because like there's a lot of things I care about, but what do people know about? Because that's another thing, is a lot of people come to me and are happy to learn, or like they didn't know something before. And that way I feel like I'm in a very good, like privileged position to speak about things that not everyone knows about, but those aren't necessarily like, sexy topics that are like, popular in the media,
Slime
like whatever.
Challenge, So I think, it's like when people pick certain like charities or certain causes, it's like we only get a finite amount of time on this earth and we can only do so much. So I think, like you said, picking a few things that you're really passionate about can be like something you educate people on more and more, and actually create change because you're focusing on these things. What a adult way to end this podcast. All right. Well, thanks you so much for joining us,
thanks,
caffeinators.
We call them coffee beans.
Coffee beans. That's cute.
Yeah.
Coffee with my ex. Wow. That was better.
Yeah, it was.
That was a lot better. You just gotta, like, sometimes when I'm doing just